What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a new episode here of Radio Wigwam, Palangi's Studio of Rock. Only every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. UK time. Today we got Mike McKee and Kathryn Lee, which your last names do rhyme, by the way. I just figured that out. With
Planned
the
that.
Drum Team Collective Rock and Roll Extraordinaires here. We're going to have a little chat. This is a little different. We usually have musicians and stuff, but I'm a recording guy and I love to support the music community. And I wanted something a little different and see if I can get you guys out there a little bit. Because Kathryn talks you up all the time, but we've never had a formal conversation. So here
He
we
is
go.
an
What's going
amazing
on?
musician.
Say that
Um,
again?
he is an amazing musician in its own with his band. Like they're incredible. So don't let him
But
fool you.
Michael Myers over here.
That's me.
No. So how did you come up with this idea for this company here?
So, Drum Team Collective is a team building company. We teach people how to play drums and join a rock and roll band in a short, 90-minute program. I came up with the idea. Uh, so my full-time job, I'm the drummer for the band Delta Ray. We've been around for about 12 years, done a lot of cool stuff. We were taking a little break from tour,
Yep.
and I was driving to my younger brother's bachelor party in North Carolina. And I got a call from somebody said, "Hey, I saw your Craigslist ad for drum lessons." And she's like, "I'm an event planner and I need like a drum circle for a company for a team building thing, but I don't want to do a drum circle. You seem like an interesting guy. What can you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really do that stuff at all. I've never done a drum circle. I do private lessons and gigs." But it's like, well, let's see what happens. So I just had 4 hours to drive, and I was like, okay, not a drum circle. What if we, instead of doing hand drums, what if we take parts of the drum set and explode it into a semicircle? And instead of teaching like patterns all together, we teach parts of the drum set, because that's how I teach drum kits of the students. Once they
Okay.
put it together, play drum groove, right?
Yep.
And and then I called her, I pitched that to her, and she was like, "Brilliant, let's do it." And I was like, "Well, I hope it works." So 2 weeks after that, I had some friends over, some family over, and I was like, "Hey guys, let's throw some drums up here." And we kind of did a demo of like, "Hey, can this work with people that don't know how to play drums? Can you play a drum groove together
Yep.
in 5 minutes?" And it worked. So I borrowed a bunch of drums and drove to the Outer Banks and did this event. It was for Underwriters Laboratory, was our first client, and
Wow.
it was. I mean, it worked. It was fun. Yeah. And then the lady, I thought it was going to be a one-off gig, one-off event. And the
Yeah.
host said, "This was so much fun. If you were to package this up, tighten it up a little bit, you could sell this as a program." And that was back in 2018. So I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. So you started off just with drum lessons. I kind of, because I teach guitar lessons too, and it's like somebody asks you something out of the ordinary. You're like, can I do this? Like, what is this?
Right.
That's awesome that you fell into that idea because, and so yeah, I noticed if you go on your Facebook and stuff, you have kicks set up, you have snares set up, you have percussion, so it's all like broken down. Because when I think of that, I was like, well, isn't there supposed to be like I don't know, 18 regular drum sets, let's say,
Mhm.
you know? So what's your approach with that with learning? Is it kind of like an orchestra where you have like this side do the kicks and then the snares, or how
I'm
does that
not going
work?
to get into it too much. It is kind of proprietary stuff. Our teaching methodology is copywritten and everything.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but I will tell you this, that our program is for people that have never played drums before, never played music before, but always wanted to be in a band or always going to play music. So
Yeah. Yep.
it's a no experience. That's the way we like it. And we have a very particular way of teaching people how to play rhythms and patterns. And we have a rock and roll band behind them playing rock and roll songs.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
Kathryn is one of those singers in there. What's up,
Yes.
Kathryn?
It is a blast. It is so fun. I mean, these people, they come in and they have no idea what to expect. They're thinking like, okay, so it's another team building event for the company. And then it's a totally different experience than what they were expecting. And they always leave with such a big smile on their face. So it's really, really fun and rewarding for us for sure.
What are some of the songs you guys do? Like, you do originals or is it mostly cover kind of stuff?
All
All
covers.
covers?
And we have so many different band members that kind of rotate in and out just depending on the schedule.
Yep.
And we play medleys of songs. It can be some classic rock songs, some modern songs. I love rock and roll, all the way to Wonderwall, all the way to Friends and Locals. And a lot of these songs are so simple. They're at the core, they're very, very simple when you
Yeah.
strip it down. and everybody just has a blast playing along these songs.
I know when you go on your Facebook and stuff too, there's wigs, there's people doing percussion lines, they're running. I've seen some people like running.
Oh yeah, yeah. The spirit moves them.
That's awesome.
A lot of that's Kathryn though, because Kathryn's really good at hyping people up. So she'll be up there singing, but also is out dancing around and getting people a little bit out of their comfort zone. So one of the purposes that we do is getting people to be vulnerable, and that allows people to communicate better. And we
Yeah.
get to spread joy through rock and roll. And the vehicle through all that is music.
Yeah.
We want them to have that experience where like they're not, employees on that day. They are literally part of a rock band. So
Okay.
we do everything on our end to make them feel like they are literally part of our group. So in that moment, it's like they belong there and they're part of it, and there's a lot of interaction. And so there's a few little makeovers that we do to kind of get them in the mood. You mentioned the wigs and costumes, and it's really, really fun. They don't get that experience anywhere else, so it's fun.
And to go back to your other question about how it kind of started, so before I had the concept of drum team, I had a show I was playing with Delta Ray. We were like maybe 3 months into a tour. And
tell us who your band is really quick, just for people that have no idea.
Delta Ray. We're based out of Durham, North Carolina, and we're kind of spread out now. But we were signed to Warner Brothers for several years, and then we went to Big Machine Records.
Yeah.
And left Big Machine and launched a Kickstarter campaign in 2019 and raised $500,000 on Kickstarter. We were the highest grossing band on Kickstarter ever.
Wow.
Then 2020 happened, and that's a whole other conversation. But that's my background there. So I was playing a show with the band, and I was backstage. I was not in the mood. I was like, man, I really don't want to play a show right now. I just didn't want to. And then it was showtime. I walk through the curtains, and there's haze on the stage, and the crowd, big crowd. And I sit behind the drum kit, and I stomp on the kick drum, and then I got this subwoofer behind me, and I go, you know what? This is fun. Everybody should have this feeling of like this.
Yeah.
Instantly I went from like, man, I don't want to do this to, yeah, let's do this.
Okay. That's kind of where spot. Yeah, because if you have an audience in front of you, wouldn't that be cool to like hand out shakers to every single one of them and say, in the middle of your set, be like, this is what everyone's gonna do, or beforehand.
Right.
Yeah, it's because it's different than lessons. Like I didn't really know 100% of everything what you guys did, and I was like, well, I think they teach lessons, but it's more about being together and having fun and what they can do and all that other good stuff.
Absolutely. It's all about communication, vulnerability, and getting out of your comfort zone and coming together. And of course, after the pandemic, so many people haven't seen each other. So there's so many teams that used to be together, now aren't, or during the pandemic weren't.
Yes.
And then their remoteness stayed. So there's a disconnect, or they'll come together once a month or something like that.
Yep.
And so what better vehicle for communication than music?
Yes. You get everybody, and it's mostly so businesses out there, like say I was a business, they'd contact you guys and be like, we want you to host let's say an event, that sort of thing.
Yep. It is. Yeah. They go to our website, drumteamcollective.com, and there's a form you can fill out, like, hey, what's your availability, that kind of stuff, and we'll make it work. Yeah.
And you do stages and conference halls and a bunch of other places, outdoor stuff too.
We've done some outdoors, like at street festivals, things like that.
Okay.
Most of the time we're in concert venues during the day or the morning.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So, these bars and these venues don't get busy till 5 o'clock. So we'll come in and do a morning session with a group, and then we pack up or had a good time to go off to do their other breakout sessions. And then the real band comes in that night to do their concert.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even before one of your guys' show, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're hanging around, you got time.
Yeah.
It's Kathryn there. Let's go back to Kathryn here. So what's your background? I know you're a singer. You sing and you write some music here. How did you stumble across this company? And
so Mike and I actually go way back. I met him in college, and he did music. I did music. We didn't have any classes together or anything, but on the side, I started doing like guest vocals. I would sit in with this band called The Breakfast Club. They were an 80s cover band, and At the time, I was running lights at a local venue here, which oddly enough is where we're doing a lot of our events now with drum teams. But I was doing lighting there at the time, and so this band asked me to start coming in and singing the girly songs like the Pat Benatar and
Mhm.
the Blondie and all that stuff. So I started doing songs with them here and there, and Mike would come out just to have fun, something fun to do on a Saturday night, and he would come to the show, and he always really supported me, even though I was up there just doing like one or two songs. Like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is nothing, but he's like, yeah, like really supporting me. So I don't know, I think that always kind of stuck with me. And then when he was doing his own company, like, and I saw he was looking for somebody to do hype work and everything, and then eventually singing, that was something that I wanted to show the same support, and so that's how that started.
What made you want to become a singer? Because there's so many things that you could do. Just the love for singing, or is it certain artists that you've seen?
It's for
I know
me.
you've done some guest spots with
Uh-huh.
another band. You can mention them too if you want.
Yeah, so that was another thing I just kind of stumbled on. That was so Trey Stafford from Adelita's Way. He started asking me to do some guest vocals with his side band. His wife had told him about me and that I do vocals, and he seemed to think that my voice was a good fit. So that's when we started doing some of those songs. But really, for me, I just always loved singing. It just always made me feel really good. I wasn't always so, excuse me the pun, but I wasn't always so vocal about it. I used to
Yeah.
be like really, more shy, and it was harder for me to get on stage. But ever since the pandemic, that was kind of my goal, was like, I don't want to be shy with this anymore, because it just makes me happy. It makes me feel really good. I just like the feeling of singing. So that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
my
And you have a
2020
great
goal.
voice too, by the way.
Thank you. Well, you do too.
Thanks. I'm a little more grittier than yours, but
Well, one day I still think that we're gonna eventually collaborate. So that's
someday.
yeah.
Everyone out there tuning in, Palangi Studio of Rock, only here on Radio Wigwam. I found Kathryn through a vocal coach who we've had on the show, Melissa Harding, with James Michael from 6 a.m. We had them on a couple weeks ago. And through this, little revolving circle, we've had a lot of branches. I'm glad to be able to connect with everybody. But it's like, who knows, when you meet one person that you could be friends with, it just keeps going. It's the
Yeah.
the
And I mean, like,
circle of music.
and talk about Melissa and her voice, the little voice classes that she's got going. I mean, I think that was a really big impact on me, on how I was able to gather
Yeah.
the
Yep.
I don't know, is it maybe the confidence to do this? But yeah, I mean, just having that little group that we've got, because we discuss, mindset, vocal mindset, and when you're performing, and um, those discussions really, really helped me to be able to break through my own mental barriers, and to actually do this. So
Yeah.
I've got to give, recognition where it's due. So
There's a
yeah.
lot to think about out there. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, anyone can just go up and sing on stage." It's not that simple. I remember stepping on like a stage in high school, and I'm feeling like, guitar wise, I could play in front of any amount of people. But then when I went to sing, it was a different feeling, like I'm going to screw up. I know I am. And that's part of the thinking that you were saying, is that you don't want to say that I know I am going to screw up. No, this is going to be fun, or I know I can do it.
Right. Because I mean, you can take voice lessons all day, and you can work on your voice all day, but if you don't have the proper mindset, it's going to still be a challenge to get on
Yes.
stage and actually do it in front of people. If are somebody that struggles with anxiety like I do, you kind of need a little bit of different training, a different approach to actually, hitting the stage.
Yeah, that would probably be the number one advice, probably, that we'd give anybody, I would say, too, for vocally wise, and practice. I'd say, you gotta practice, 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 practice. All
Yeah.
my students are like, well, Yeah, I played a little bit this week, and I go, well, whatever you want. What's your goal? Speaking which, back to Michael here. What's your goal with your company? Like, where do you see it going? What do you want to do in the future? Is there other things you want to kind of sprout out with?
Well, we've just recently started bringing in electric guitar into the program, having people play
Yeah.
electric guitar through a very specific tool. And so, kind of, that's a new idea that we're branching out with, and also just new locations. So, I live in Nashville, and we are branching out drum team here. I have a closet full of drums over there. And so, we're going to be hosting events here. And I have different facilitators and musicians. So, I teach the program to different people,
Okay.
and, and they do it. So, in Raleigh, I got like four different people that host the events. And
Okay.
what's really cool though is they're all drummers because they're experienced behind the kit and teaching drums. But
Yeah.
as drummers, we have a protection in front of us. We've always had a drum set, and that's our voice, right? So
Yeah,
with
you
these,
never quite get to step on the front of that stage.
so with the drum team event, you have a microphone, and then you are in front of your drum set talking to people, and that is difficult. And so all of my facilitators have expressed to me, like, man, I was so nervous, I was so anxious and vulnerable, but by the end of it, I felt empowered, and that empowerment goes through the facilitator, and it trickles down to all the people because they're seeing
Mhm.
someone who's not used to talking. You know,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
used to have a horrible speech impediment. I couldn't talk for years and years and years, and and then public speaking was out. So drums were great for me because it was a shield. But I
Yeah.
started dancing, and I was beyond nervous starting it, beyond nervous. But now I feel like I have no more shell because of
Yeah.
so we try to empower everybody, including the teammates that we have for the company.
That's a great idea. And a lot of people, you never get to hear the drummer what they have to say. And for drummers to do that, it's their, the lead moment to go and experience that and to
And
teach. And
exactly. And we have a fun part of the program, the music industry Q&A. Everybody that does the events are all professional musicians. And it's a time to sit down, break the fourth wall and say, "Hey guys, what questions do you have about the music industry? What's it like playing on late night TV shows? What's it like going on tour? You know, that kind of
yeah,
stuff."
yeah,
And
you can network a little bit and
those
exchange stories.
yeah, talk, tell stories, and just like let people know what it's like in this recording studio. Most people don't know what it's really like.
Yeah, yeah. Give them any insights that they might want or can. They take a lot of questions during it. Like a lot of people ask a lot of questions.
It depends. Some events, the one yesterday or 2 days ago was very few questions,
Oh,
but
okay.
some I had to cut them off. I've had some that they were asking like, how does revenue with Spotify work? That's a great question. Or like, what one of them was like, what's the Taylor Swift story with Big Machine? And I'm like, wow, I I can talk a lot about that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, geez.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Well, the most important thing, like you said, is getting people back together. And so if it's something that you guys out there, we broadcast from all over the place. They have 3 different locations. You can go to their website. Give me the website one more time.
Drumteamcollective.com or
And they're,
Instagram or Yelp or LinkedIn or
yep,
Facebook or
or
Twitter,
Facebook.
all the things, all the things.
Okay.
Yeah.
TikTok. You guys on TikTok?
Man, I no, I love
Okay.
TikTok. It's a lot of fun, but Drum Team needs. I run another company that has a TikTok, so I do that one.
How do you think social media, especially like I know you're not on TikTok, but say the rise of TikTok, how does that help or affect your business?
For Drum Team.
Yeah, just as far as obviously exposure, but is there any?
You have to see what the demographic is for your clientele and what the demographic is for the user of the interface. So, for example, I would much rather put energy and burn calories towards Facebook and LinkedIn to
Uh-huh.
get clients. If I was selling widgets that appealed to 15-year-olds, I would not put any dollars to LinkedIn. I'd put it all to TikTok. So it depends on
Yes.
what your demographic is. For Drum Team Collective, our demographic are HR, or people that are booking.
Yep. You want those businesses on LinkedIn. You want
yeah,
those
yeah, and there's no,
professional.
exactly.
Yep. Kathryn, are you there?
No, I left.
What do you think about all this new technology with like TikTok and all that? How does it affect a company like Mike's or a singer like yourself? You think it's good because you can get yourself out there, or is there too much out there in the radio waves? There's just too many, too much. How can you be found anymore?
For me personally, I am not really technology inclined.
I feel like you have to be nowadays. It's like you're forced to, whether
Yeah.
you like it or not. That's the way. And you,
I think I just posted like, I don't know, just probably less than 5 videos ever on TikTok so far. So I'm still like a
that's okay.
TikTok newbie.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah. We'll see where that goes. I don't know yet.
So what's your overall goal? Do you think where do you picture yourself in like 5 years as far as original music, doing this, maybe so I say a band, We
I'd love
talked about that
to,
a little bit.
yeah, I'd love to have, my own band. I mean, not like focused on me, but like I'd love to have a band that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
I'd love that in the future at some point. Obviously, I do have original songs written. You and I have talked about that, maybe, recording something. Um, but yeah, as far as like what I see in the future, I'm really open to anything. I I don't know. I don't want to set limitations on myself. I just want to just see where it goes because there's so many different possibilities. And, I never thought that I would be doing the drum team stuff. I'm not a drummer, so it's not something that I
Mhm.
thought that I would be, I didn't think that that was a possibility for a vocalist to go and do something like that. So, I'm not going to set any limitations, but I would love to release original music and to have my own band. And yeah, so if anybody's watching, hit me
We'll
up.
get Michael to drum for your recording. There we go. We know one
I know
drummer and a guitarist.
Mike is a busy guy. He is a busy, busy guy. I don't know
We'll
how
send
he
him one
does it.
track.
He has so much stuff going on. I mean, he hasn't even mentioned he's got another company as well. He has Bald Man Percussion as well. So he's got like so much stuff going on. But yes,
Okay.
for the record, I would be more than happy to work with Mike. Really on any project, but yeah, if we wanted to do something musical as well, I would be more than happy to.
What's different about that second company there, Michael?
Oh man, that's completely sovereign entities. So the table of my career is set up with multiple legs, 4 legs. Delta Ray,
Yep.
Drum Team Collective, Rock and Roll Team Building, Bald Man Percussion, and then just doing gigs around town, playing with friends, doing cover gigs, wedding gigs, stuff like that, just for fun, a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Those are the legs to my career. And Bald Man Percussion started around the same time as Drum Team did. Me and my buddy Danny, he's another bald drummer. We met on the road. I had this device that I had made, chains and wood and metal as a hi-hat cymbal. And he saw it and was like, hey, this is cool. Can I make it a little bit better? I'm a woodworker, I make it a little cleaner. He did that. And we were just kind of kicking around some different ideas. And then he was on Stephen Colbert's show and using the device that we can kind of rigged up.
Wow.
And Joe Saylor, the house drummer, was like, that thing's cool. What is it? And Danny told me that. I was like, man, okay, I like it. You like it. Joe Saylor likes it. Let's make some and see what happens.
Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit. We call it the Junk Cat. We have a patent on it. And it is a reverse gated snare drum 808 analog machine. It won Best in Show at NAMM in 2019. And then we have other products we have another product called the Stank Foot. It won Best in Show at NAMM last year. And we're in 25 different countries. Daru Jones has signature series with us. Aaron Sterling plays it.
Wow.
Travis Barker's playing our stuff. It's fun. We make instruments and there are analog versions of digital sounds. The best way to describe it.
Okay.
It's kind of a big deal.
I'd be interested in looking at it. What's the website for that?
baldmanpercussion.com and Baldman Percussion Instagram. We're pretty easy to find there. Now, you asked about TikTok and stuff. So that demographic and that product focuses around sound, studio work, famous drummers,
Yep.
That kind of stuff you want to burn a lot of calories in Instagram and TikTok because you get facial recognition. So
getting those artists to do videos and stuff with that product.
Bingo.
Yep.
And would do a bald man LinkedIn? No, because no CEO is trying to get bald man to do a thing. So that's why when I do drum team work, I put on a hat and I do a certain thing. And that's where I focus that. My verbiage and the blogs I do and all that kind of stuff is
Yep.
for that. Take that hat off, put another one on, and then is bald man work. And that goes for drummers, for producers, for engineers, and speak that language and use that verbiage. And then I take that hat off, put on Delta Ray, and then, that's, and
And
then,
just rock out.
right.
That's cool. That's and you need to nowadays. I feel like just doing one thing is kind of it's so weird, but it's not good enough nowadays. It's like I don't know if it's like technology is making us, there's all these different avenues where we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do that, but it all collectively comes together and you make a living off of it. Because I don't like, I played for a living for 8 years and I realized I can't just play for a living as a musician and make a living. So what else can I do? It's a one piece of the pie. You know what I mean?
It's a shame. The cost of living has skyrocketed, and the wages have not kept up. So this,
Yeah,
if you go to a bar gig somewhere, there's a good chance that the wage is the same as it was 30 years ago.
it
Like
is.
$150, right? That's the
Yes.
rate today. It's insane.
Yep. And everybody else goes up. That's what I always argue. And I'm like, and you always try to get more and stuff. And then a lot of the owners and stuff just they don't get it, or I don't know, they don't have the budget. That's probably the number one thing. We don't have the budget. I'm like, well, then don't have music. If you really want music,
Yeah,
it's a give and take.
and there's this mentality of like, oh, you're playing music, you should be grateful. You're just having fun, right? And that's the non-music talk of non-music.
Yeah,
Like, we're just having a
yes.
good time. Like, and you're like, well, yeah, I am having a good time. All right, then do it for $50. And you're like, well, it's
Yeah. Some people view it as, why don't you just come over and play? Like,
Mhm.
why don't you just come over and play at my restaurant? And we view it differently. Like, we're coming over, doing a gig, and it's not like going over to buddy's house and playing a little party or something. It's different. And
Well, our work is play. Is the word play. So there's this kind of there's some mental roadblocks there. That's called
yeah,
play. It is absolutely work. And the best musicians I know are the ones that'll say like, we play for free. It's the travel you got to pay me for. Traveling, that's the work, setting up and traveling. But the
yeah,
performance, yeah, we'll do that for free. But then you got to pay me my full scale to show up.
yeah. There you go. There you go. And we're paying you to play, so we don't allow tip jars here. I've had that a couple times, and I'm like, I've never heard that in my whole life. They're like, well, we're paying you to play, so that should be good enough. And I'm like, oh no.
Well, then the servers don't get tips either.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Exactly. I love the thing.
yeah.
I don't know if it's near you guys where there's an option on a receipt that says tip the musician as well. I
Oh,
love
wow.
that idea.
That's
Love
kind of
that
cool.
idea. Because you can't, I mean, physically, say you got 30 tables and only 20 people, whatever, walk by you as they leave, every one of those will see that on that ticket.
Mhm.
And nowadays, a lot of our musicians will have their banner set up and it says, "Here's my Venmo," and that way there's no cash. The restaurant can't do anything about it. You got the Venmo,
That's true.
done deal. Make it easy.
Yeah. Yep. I always put out the old tin can.
Okay. Well, you're old school.
Yep. I put out cookie jars, everything. We've used a guitar case. We've used everything last minute.
Hey, man.
But anyways, you guys, I think we can hit the mark here. I appreciate you guys coming on here, the show, talking a little bit here. It's a different interview for me. I usually interview musicians. I know you're a musician, but I like talking more about the gear and the music community, and to try to expose you guys, because I think it's a really cool idea. I was telling her, I go, there's not one near me, so I can't help you guys out at all.
I know. I
Right.
was like, you should move to North Carolina. You'd be perfect for
I
this.
know, and I'm like, I'd move there and go broke instantly. But if you ever do come near, even like Massachusetts area, anywhere up
Oh, yeah.
north wise,
Yeah.
I will
Yeah. Well, we
be in
have
touch.
we have plans to scale it up pretty big time. So we might just see you up there.
All right. Before we go, any one last word of advice you want to give, let's say, artists out there having a hard time getting to the next level? You as an artist and a drummer, what's your advice?
Best piece of advice I've ever heard is some people will love you for the exact same reason other people will hate you. If you put out your art, there's gonna be people that go, "This is great because of this," and then another group will say, "This is awful because of same thing."
Yeah.
Do your thing. You will, if you're doing art, you will attract an audience. If there's something you like, other people are going to like it too. And other people will hate it for the same reason. So don't be discouraged when people hate it, because other people will love it.
Very true. Kathryn, what you got? What you got on your mind? I know you got something.
It reminds me, like, when he puts it that way. So something that I would say is, when you ask anybody their favorite color, everybody's going to have a different color that they love, but that doesn't mean the other colors are no good. So if you aren't somebody's preference, that's fine. Let it go. You're going to find, there's going to be somebody that likes what you do and that appreciates what you do. So don't give up on yourself and don't think that you're no good just because, one person or a group of people, it's not their thing. It's totally fine. Just keep believing in yourself. And if something's not working, start thinking outside the box and try something else. So just stick with it.
I've never heard of that. That's awesome. A color. Mm-hmm. That's great. Because it's like we all appreciate every single color. I mean, I don't use pink a lot, but I appreciate it still. You know what I mean? Or I don't know. What's a bad color? Chocolate brown. I don't know.
They all have their place. No,
exactly.
That's a great analogy, Kathryn. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. I like it. Well, thanks, guys. Make sure you guys check them out here. You can hear reruns. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, because we've been kicking some butt here on Mixcloud, and I appreciate it here with whoever's listening out there. We broadcast from all over the place, whether in the UK and Canada and Mexico, and I've had a few people contact me from Australia, which, good day, mate. I don't know. That's probably really bad. But thanks, guys, everybody, for tuning in here. You can head over to our YouTubes and our social medias and see this about a week later after this airs. But until then, I will see you guys next week for the Halloween Radio Wigwam Palangi Studio of Rock episode. So bring your Michael Myers masks and your Jason Voorhees stuff. All right, we'll rock out. See you guys. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.